A video footage has been released in social media, showing a Ukrainian drone strike on an oil facility on Crimea on Friday. The video captures the moment of the strike on an oil depot and industrial complex in Russian-annexed Crimea Peninsula, followed by explosions. Ukraine's Special Operations Forces launched drone strikes on several Russian targets in Crimea on the night leading to October 17. As a result of the successful operation, an oil depot in Hvardiysk settlement and the FGKU Hvardiyski industrial complex in the village of Kherson, Sakei district, were hit. Fire broke out at the oil depot, as one of the RVS 2000 fuel tanks was hit. The Special Operations Forces pledged to continue to carry out asymmetric actions aimed at stopping Russian troops. The General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces confirmed the attack on Russian targets. Other targets include a Russian military fuel and lubricants depot in Zankoy and a Niboyu radar station in Yevpatoria. The results of the missions are being verified. The implementation of asymmetric measures to weaken the offensive and military economic potential of the aggressor state will continue until the Kremlin ceases its armed aggression against Ukraine, the General Staff stated. It should be noted that Crimea's largest oil terminal in Feodosia has repeatedly come under Ukrainian drone attacks. Ukraine has scaled up missile and drone strikes on Russian oil and gas facilities in response to massive wave of Russian attacks on the country's power grid and in an attempt to undermine Moscow's war efforts. Ukraine's long-range attacks on energy infrastructure have knocked out around 30% of Russia's oil refining capacity. Russian-annexed Crimea has been most hit by fuel shortages and rationing due to Russia's loss of oil refining capacity. On the night of October 17, Russian invading forces unsuccessfully attempted to repel a new Ukrainian attack on military facilities in temporarily occupied Crimea. Instead, the Russian army destroyed its own aircraft. A statement on this matter was made by the spokesman for the naval forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Dmitry Pletenchuk. According to his data, we are talking about the Russian Su-30SM. The Russians, while repelling a drone attack, shot down their own Su-30SM aircraft over temporarily occupied Crimea, the Ukrainian Navy spokesman emphasized. All additional information about the consequences of this event is being clarified. It is important to understand that last night, temporarily occupied Crimea was actively attacked by Ukrainian drones. According to eyewitnesses, a massive fire broke out at the oil depot of the peninsula's largest gas station chain in the village of Gvardiskoy in the Simferopol district. In addition, there are reports online about the possible impact of drones on an ammunition depot. The oil depot that came under attack from Ukraine this time belongs to Kedr LLC, which owns Aton, the largest gas station chain in Crimea. A successful attack on such a facility could lead to significant problems with fuel supplies on the occupied peninsula. Recall, Su-30SM is a multi-role fighter aircraft developed by JSC Sukhoi Design Bureau for the Russian Air Force. It is being manufactured by Irkut, a company based in Russia. The first Su-30SM fighter designed for the Russian Ministry of Defense performed its maiden flight in September 2012. The multi-role Su-30SM can be deployed in counter-air strikes, counter-land, and counter-sea missions. It can conduct electronic countermeasures and early warning tasks. The aircraft also acts as a command and control platform within a fleet of combat aircraft performing joint missions. The airframe of Su-30SM is made of titanium and high-strength aluminium alloys. It is based on the Su-30MKI aircraft developed jointly by Irkut and JSC Sukhoi Design Bureau for the IAF. The fuselage head has a cockpit, radar sections and avionics bay. High maneuverability was achieved through the integral aerodynamic form combined with a thrust vectoring feature. The glass cockpit accommodates two pilots in tandem configuration. The crew are provided with ejection seats. The cockpit incorporates an advanced avionics suite integrating a head-up display and liquid crystal multifunction displays. The Sukhoi Su-30SM features identification friend or foe equipment, a global positioning system and an inertial navigation system. The open architecture design allows the integration of modern avionics, including a new radar system, radio and recognition system and other support systems. The Su-30SM is capable of carrying an advanced weapons payload, weighing up to 8 t.
A wave of outrage is growing among entrepreneurs in Russia following the announcement of a new tax package which effectively taxes even micro businesses. Despair is increasingly being expressed on social media. One symbol of this outrage is a video on Instagram showing the owner of a small jewelry store sobbing in front of the camera, explaining that she sees no future for her business. "I've survived COVID, the dollar surge, the haters, the fines, QR codes and the social media block. But now that's it. This tax will finally finish us off," she says, barely holding back tears. New tax rules will come into force in Russia on January the 1st, 2026. The VAT rate increases from 20 to 22%, and the threshold for its payment is reduced from 60 million to 10 million rubles per year. This means that even the smallest entrepreneurs, small shops, workshops, and beauty salons will have to pay the tax. For millions of business owners, this is effectively a death sentence. Economists say the tax increase will hurt domestic demand, lead to the closure of thousands of businesses, and increase unemployment. The reason for the sharp tax hike is simple. Russia is running out of funds for the war and to cover the budget deficit. According to the Russian economists, military spending will consume up to 40% of the budget by 2025, while oil and gas revenues are plummeting following the Ukrainian attacks on oil refineries and Western restrictions. To plug the holes, the authorities have decided to milk business. But as even pro-Kremlin experts note, this could lead to mass bankruptcies and social unrest. In her video, the entrepreneur explains that her Kamushki store has been in business for 13 years, but now she doesn't know if it can withstand another blow. Every year, there are new taxes, new fines, new bans. "I've endured and worked, but I can't bear it in silence anymore." Her words provoked a strong reaction even among loyal Russians. The video was followed by thousands of comments expressing outrage, fear and hopelessness. Small businesses, which have always been a cushion for the regional economy, are effectively crumbling before our eyes. Against the backdrop of war, mobilization, sanctions, and falling demand, there's now also a tax hike. For the Kremlin, this is a way to maintain the system. For the people, it's another point of no return.